Good evening, everybody. Happy Halloween and welcome to Inside the Burrow. Robbie Listella alongside Mike Birdman. It is a Halloween edition of Inside the Burrow. Nothing spooky to talk about unless you're a USF fan. There's some spooky things happening on Friday night. Talking everything, though, we've got the St. Leo scrimmage to talk about, the Indiana State season opener on November 4th. And in between that, we've got a matchup with Auburn in hoops as well. And it's homecoming week, FAU taking on USF in football. But we go chronologically here on Inside the Burrow. But first of all, Mike, how's it going, man? How was your weekend? What's going on in the land of Birdman?
It was good, man. It was good. This past weekend, we got a lot done, man. Worked around the house. My wife's birthday, so we had a little party here. Kind of had some people over. It was a good time, man. Halloween theme is always fun.
Let's go.
I missed last week, I think, right?
Yeah, we were off the air last week.
UTSA, which was, I guess, the game. It was my birthday weekend, right? I saw you out there in Texas, and then I missed that week because I got wrapped up with, my real gig.
Real
not
world,
media. I'm not media. I'm just do this, I do this on the side for fun. And missed last week, and here we are, right? Talking USF and talking some Owls hoops, man.
Yeah, I saw Katie at the Owls game on Saturday. I saw you at the St. Leo game on Saturday. It was a good atmosphere. I was excited to be back in there. It's been a long time. Last game was the Memphis game, which was absolutely insane. They let me sit in the student section and do media at the same time because it was my last game as a student. So that was fun, and it was fun to be back. I think what I take away outside before we get to the game is I still think these are good guys. We had good guys the last 2 years and before. And what this showed me is these guys are still great people. They continued the tradition of meeting with all the fans after the game. I saw Jaquel and Baba signing autographs. Mike, you get that same type of vibe that, wins and losses aside, these are still really good people.
Oh, great people. Every single one of them. I attend practice, not all the time, but, maybe like a couple times a month I'll come by, and they all make, they all make an effort to come and say hi to the people that are there, which is really cool. Everyone's super polite. And I know Coach Shakis, he recruits talent, but he also recruits character. And I had lunch with him the other day. He also said wingspan is also a characteristic he looks for in a player. But I think character is extremely important, especially with the group of guys we have. You can see that that is accurate. We do have really good guys on the team, and which is nice because I think when you have good people, they want to do good things together, and it's easier to build kind of like bonds and camaraderie around people, right? Look at some of the other teams; they don't necessarily have that. They kind of they're putting together like who they think the best player is, right? Not necessarily like what the best culture would be, So and I know that culture sometimes can be stronger than talent. So that's good, but all of that aside, we do have a really talented team. Matas, number 8 Matas, is, and I can't say his last name. I'm not even going to try. I've been going headband, no headband, and no headband. Matas starting in the in the center position is he's awesome.
Yeah,
he's awesome. I think he's people are gonna I'm gonna get crucified for this. I know that, but he's better than Vlad was at that stage by far.
Yeah, right off the bat.
By far. It took Vlad until junior, halfway through junior year to really come of age, I think. Matas is already there. And alongside Baba Miller, who's the longest guy I've ever seen in person. His arms go forever. He's super long. He can shoot, dribble, pass. He moves really well with the ball, without the ball. He's all over the place. He's got dribble skills like a guard. He could shoot from the outside. He could play the 5 spot. He's just all around awesome basketball player. So that was cool to actually see the two of them in not just scrimmaging against.
What about Trey though?
Trey Carroll. Yeah, Trey went off, man. Trey went off. Yeah, Trey had the game of his life. Granted, it was against St. Leo's, but I will not take that away from Trey because I love Trey Daddy. And he had a great game too, man. He looked good. And
that's I think they took time to develop him in the offseason. He wasn't just here to be the ambassador and then ride the pine. They actually, I mean, at least from that game, he was putting the ball on the ground, hitting spin moves. He even hit a step back triple at one point. So it looks like he really hit a big up in his game this offseason.
He had a baseline dunk too. Did you see that? Remember the baseline dunk? It was on like the I guess like the entrance would be the south side of the arena. Yeah, it was pretty strong. Caleb Glenn had a lot of really nice dunks. Caleb Glenn's going to be really good.
He came in at one point and off of somebody missed the layup, but he inbounded the ball and he ran from where he inbounded, got the rebound, put it up, drew the foul, and hit both of his free throws. So I think he is crazy athletic. Baba's athletic, and even headband Montas Koshanas, he looked good in limited action as well. So I think the big man unit on this team is real solid. I think the question now just becomes: do we think they can do it against equal size? And I think
honestly, I don't think there's a lot of equal size in the conference, right? Like I think who's got a big team like us, like tall and long? Like not a lot of them. Like there's like a
UAB has some guys,
UAB, yeah, but their biggest guy is 6'10", 6'11", and there's one of them, right? And so I mean that's like Axel. What's the other guy? Coleman.
Yeah, and then they've got Tony. Tony
who's really good. He's not that big. Tony.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's been around for a while. He's good. I think we're better than UAB. Just like without
Memphis
even
has Dane Danger and Musa Cisse.
What's that?
Memphis with Dane Danger, Musa Cisse. They got some big men over there.
There's some rumors around Dane right now, and I don't know if he's going to be there still into next week. But things are swirling. I know Trilly put something out, right?
Yeah,
you saw that, and when that happens, there's usually something to it.
So we'll see. I think the one concern, though, I'm left with after the scrimmage was I don't remember the exact statistic, but they didn't shoot as well as they wanted from three. They didn't shoot as many times as they wanted from three. They want to shoot 30 times a game. They were well under that. I think they shot about 20.
They were at 19%, I think, right, or 20%.
Yeah,
20s. If they broke 20, they were at like low 20%. 1 for 5 is not awesome.
No.
From 3-point. Even if you're shooting it 30 times, it's not awesome.
Do you think that costs them, though? If, let's say a game like this happens against an AAC team. If they can't.
A lot of rebounds we're not getting. Yeah, there's a lot of rebounds we're not getting against an AAC team. Yeah, we're way bigger than St. Leo's. Like, that was not even, like, really fair.
No.
Beating that by 50 points. I know, like, USF beat them by, like, 26, right? Something like that. Like, a couple days prior, and then they played Miami.
FSU, they played FSU.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, they. I take these scrimmages, these things like teams are trying stuff out, right? Like for St. Leo, it was like the Super Bowl. They're trying to just kind of knock one of these teams off, just so they can go into their season like, here we are, right? Build all that confidence. For us, I know it's the coaches and the players trying, just using it as an opportunity to like work things out, right? Kind of get used to running plays against people who haven't seen it before. See how the guys react to, something new in front of them, stuff like that. But I mean, we handled St. Leo's with no issue. It wasn't like.
That's what you have to do against that team. You have to beat them by 50, and the fact that they were able to do that in spite of really bad 3-point shooting is a very good sign. Obviously, against moving past this scrimmage, I want to see in both against Auburn and then Indiana State, I want to see them find their shot because there's going to come a time where they're not going to be able to overcome that at least. As quickly as they did, they never made that affect them. But if they go on a cold streak in an AAC game, there's a chance that it gets away from them.
100%.
So, going into Auburn, talk like what do we expect? What do we want to see? I don't necessarily know what to expect, especially because we won't be able to see it. So it's really tough. I don't even want to think about that game and can't watch it. But
did some poking around today. So I was curious myself if we'd be able to watch it while we were at the football game tomorrow night. It's not on TV, and I've been getting. I talked to some people who are in the know on these things, and Birdman does have some connects. And I did find, and from a very reputable source, that they did not want to air this game on the internet because they were scared to. They didn't. There's more for us to gain than it is for them, by beating us. And if we did knock them off, I don't know that they wanted that out there. I don't know, but I hate to say that they were scared to do it. But maybe that was the case.
This game, though, it's going to be
live stats are going to be available though during the game. I don't know where, but you'll be able to follow via live stats. I'm trying to get that link, and if I do, I'll put it on my Twitter so people.
You can probably type in Auburn stats broadcast on Google, and that'll bring that up. That's what FAU uses to keep like official stats. But I think this is going to be a real shot against a good team to see what this team is capable of.
It's definitely a benchmark for sure. Auburn's typically good. They're typically a solid team. Like they're not a slouch for sure. They could play ball. They got a great coach. They got great facilities. They always get great players. So yeah, I think so.
They bring in Joni Broom, a 6'10" center from Morehead State. He's one of the best players in Morehead State history.
I remember him.
And so he comes in now. That's going to be that's what I want to see in this game is how Matas does against somebody who's contending to be what's the an all let's just say all SEC type of player.
6'10" and 7'1". That's a big difference though. Also, like if your biggest guy is 6'10", he's got to be a baller to compete with somebody. Because Matas isn't just like a tall, skinny guy. He's like a hulking dude. He's big. He's not chunky fat, but like a chunky kind of player. Like he's not going to get pushed around by someone unless
people
they're
kind of devalued. These additions of a lot of these international guys just because they're not top 100 high school recruits or a big portal name, but these guys can ball, and I think people will get to see that.
It's funny too because like I was asking Coach Jacobs this the other day, like after they released like the preseason net rankings or the KenPom?
Yeah.
KenPom. I asked them, I'm like, how do they like we were at like what were we 112?
Somewhere very low.
Low 100s. I was looking at it, I'm like, how do they I was like, Coach, how do they know? Right? Like he's like, I don't know. So like there's no stats for these international players.
They're just guessing. And I
guess so. If they're even guessing or they're just not factoring them in, they're just factoring based on what they know, right? And kind of seeing how things shake out the first couple weeks to make corrections.
One of those, I don't know which poll it is, but one of them is just people voting on it. And so, I mean, a lot of people, I saw one guy who put out a poll or one of those ranking lists, and, they put FAU in a category. It was fun while it lasted. And I'm like, what kind of analysis is that?
They're not.
And so like
they're definitely the KenPom's not voted on. The KenPom is analytical, and so is the net. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So they're both those are both based on analytics, and I don't know I don't know how exactly they work. I'm not a math guy per se, and but they're both based on analytics. I don't know how you get analytics off someone who's never played in the United States and has no rankings outside of Lithuania times 2 plus Germany. So.
Good luck with that. We'll see where those rankings end up, especially after that first regular season game against Indiana State. To me, it's a huge game right off the rip. I heard Wichita State's coach talking about playing Western Kentucky in the first game. That's a big game for them as well. And I think, scheduling a team that's going to give you competition in that first game, I think that's the way to go than just scheduling some FCS, D2, whatever, that you could just blow by. Obviously, that's good. And FAU plays Coastal Georgia game later, and they'll, do what they do against them. But to start off against a team like Indiana State, it gets that energy flowing early. You're thrown right into the fire.
It's cool. And they're just coming off an NIT championship game. I know that, but they lost to.
They lost just about everybody.
They lost the whole team, but they were in the finals. In the NIT, which is not easy to do.
They went the route of that some people thought FAU may have gone, and they retained an assistant as their head coach, Matthew Graves. He was on the staff last year. Didn't really help them keep a lot of that talent, but they went out. They got a bunch of players. They got their big man that's going to go up against Mata, 6'10", 250. He comes in from Central Michigan where he averaged 10-5. And then outside of that, though, they don't have a lot of size, which it's going to be another game where they have one other player who's 6'10". He played limited action last year for them. So it's really going to be another opportunity for FAU to dominate down low. They have a couple, lengthy guys, a 6'6" forward they got out of a JUCO. They've got good shooting. Johnny Summers, that JUCO forward, he shot 37%. They bring in a guard from VMI who averaged 12 points a game, Tyron Cook. He averaged 40% from three as a freshman last year. And then they bring in a veteran guard from Presbyterian who shot 41% from three, 13.6 points per game. So they're going to try to shoot out of the building. At least that's kind of what it seems like. I don't know what Matthew Graves' scheme is going to be, but the size advantage in this one, I think, is something that FAU is going to have to capitalize on. But also with this, both of these teams brought in, it seems like, veteran guards. And so it's going to come down to which group gelled better and worked together quickly to find their rhythm in game one. And I don't know Indiana State's guards, but I think FAU's group is going to be up for this game.
They look great the other day. They look great in practice. I think they're going to start to get used to playing with each other. I hope it's a good game. I think it's going to be a good game. I think we're going to come out on top. I think it'll be Coach Jake's first official win here, and I'm looking forward to celebrating that with them at some point, hopefully. And yeah, I'm just ready, man. I'm so ready for basketball. It's my sport, but
it's gonna be fun. I think
it is gonna be fun. I love what Coach is trying to build here already. Just hitting the ground running. He's already visiting fraternity houses. I saw that they posted with the AE Pie house.
That is awesome.
Shout out to AE Pie and the Flamingos. They hosted Coach Jacobs there at their house, and he had a lot of good, nice things to say about them. So hope he gets out there and visits the rest of the fraternities and sororities too. That'd be kind of cool. I know he's going to be busy.
I heard that's what Charlie Partridge used to do back in the day, if that's correct. And so I think I think that's definitely the way to go. I mean, right? I mean, just let people, everyone kind of, especially fraternity members, they just want to see wins, and if they don't win, they don't really care.
Yeah, but it's also
in there.
I kind of disagree with that, actually.
He personalized himself, which I think is definitely a great move, and it gives them a face and somebody to rally around if things losses may happen, and with the South Florida fan base at times those can be volatile, but if you give them somebody to rally around, a face to care about, they'll come regardless.
So yes, yes, 100%. The one thing that Howard Schnellenberger did, and I talk about this all the time whenever people talk to me about FAU football and how it became popular and what really started it, and how do you start a program from scratch, or how do you rekindle a program or do something like that. It's really the buy-in, right? So you want to feel and it worked for me, it worked for my wife, it worked for everybody that I know that's been with FAU football and FAU basketball, from the get-go. The people that are the diehards are the ones that were made to feel like they were part of the team. Mm-hmm. Right. And Coach Schnellenberger and what Coach Jacobs is doing now, those guys really made you feel like you were on the bench with them. Right. Yep. Coach Schnellenberger would have a breakfast the day before a game. He'd bring everybody in, he'd bring the coaches in, they'd talk about the game plan, he'd go to events, he'd stop by people's offices at the campus, he'd just walk around, he'd visit fraternity houses like Coach did the other day, and he'd really make them feel like they were there and they were part of the team. And that's true, man. It's the university. It's not some professional sports team, with a giant stadium. This is FAU and sleepy Boca Raton, small Florida town. We're a hometown team, and the people in the community, they're all part of that team. And that's really where the buy-in comes from and what makes something like FAU so special.
I noticed that a lot with basketball. It's tough right now. I haven't noticed it as much with football, but that community aspect is there for basketball right now. Yeah. It helped because of the winning, and so it's a mix. It's a mix of the good people, because football has that. Football has really good people. The wins haven't been there. When there's both, that creates a hotbed of fan explosion. Right. And I think Jacobs is going to be able to capitalize on that.
Coach Jacobs is going to be just fine. They're going to do great.
I'm excited to see that first game against Coastal Georgia. It's a Friday night. That's a great day to have that first game. I think it'll be packed out. Still some tickets available if you go to FAU Ticks on Twitter. They've got some tickets available. Go there, get them, and sell this game out. I think the students are going to go crazy for it. They're looking for something to rally around. It's going to start with USF this Friday, and then it's going to go on November 4th. They're going to see them win on Fox on national television against Indiana State, and then Coastal Georgia on the 8th. It's all going to happen really quickly. There's a chance for some real excitement around FAU campus. But as I mentioned, it starts with the homecoming matchup. It's homecoming week here at FAU. They take on USF, the Battle of South Florida. FAU went to Tampa last year and spoiled their homecoming 56-14. USF's going to try to do that. The Owls are going to have to be ready. Mike, what's the best homecoming memory you got? It's got to be the burning mascots.
The burning mascots was always something I looked forward to, although we didn't do that too often for homecoming. It was more of like that happened maybe like once or twice for homecoming back in the day. Like the burning mascots was really like the season kickoff. Okay. You know, the first team to kind of like, it was parts of Weeks of Welcome. I don't know if they still do that, but
they do. They don't burn anything, but
they don't burn anything anymore. But the burning mascots were cool. I think my best homecoming memory though was, man, it goes back a while. I was really close with Howard. He's one of my mentors, and it really was a big impact on my life. And I know I talk about him all the time, and I miss him dearly. But it was really spending time with him and my wife during homecoming. Like he was this larger than life person, and I don't know if you had the opportunity to meet him at any point, but you would have automatically been drawn to his giant personality. And every year on homecoming, he would call me and ask me if he was going to be the grand marshal in the homecoming parade, which was something that we used to do at FAU. It used to be this cheesy parade around campus where everyone would come out of their offices and the golf carts would go by and the students would compete and make floats. And it wouldn't go down like downtown Boca or anything. It would just go around the circle of campus. It was like so cheesy. But people got into it. It became like a fraternity competition. But Howard would call me every year and ask me what time I was going to pick him up on the golf cart. I was like, Howard, like one year they actually like asked him to be like the grand marshal. And he was like, oh my God, like honored. He was like, oh, you know, like it was great. And like every year after that, he called me and asked me what time I was picking him up to be the grand marshal for the parade. And it was like for years and years. And it was so much fun. So whenever I think of homecoming, I think of driving Howard Schnellenberger around campus through this parade on the golf cart. And he was like waving and smiling and signing autographs for people and handing out like trinkets with FAU logos on it. And those were like my real good memories of homecoming. They were more so when I was a student than when than now. Now it's kind of like work for me because my wife is so involved with everything she does at alumni and community relations that, it becomes kind of like helping with that because I know that her and her team work so hard to make sure that there's always something for alumni to do all week long. Like there was the talent awards last night, today, and then Majestic Owls on Saturday, the game tomorrow. And, like they're very involved. But my best memories of homecoming are those times when I was a student and just enjoying all the excitement and everything that was built up around it. That was really, for me, that was the best.
It sounds like it. I think FAU should bring that back and take the floats down to
down 20th Street, end at Publix, or start at Publix parking lot and go down 20th Street. It was so much. It could be really cool if the city got behind it and did that. And I don't know where that is now. Not too involved with the happenings of FAU homecoming, too much other than what the Alumni Association does. But it could be something cool. Maybe someone's going to hear this maybe and look into it. That'd be great.
We got to see. But going into the matchup a little bit, I'm a bit concerned, with attendance for this homecoming game. Although it is homecoming, it's Halloween weekend, and with Boca Raton in South Florida, when it's a game between two teams with not a good record. Sometimes people tend to go do other things. I'm hoping that's not the case here. This is going to be a ESPN2 game on a Friday night. It's going to be watched on TV. Need good attendance in the crowd to show what FAU is capable of. I know the students are going to show out. Hopefully, the Boca community comes and spends a Friday night, a Halloween weekend in paradise, because it's going to be a good game. I mean, although both these teams have struggled, there's still time to turn it around, even for FAU, despite us saying it every week. There's still a chance for them to turn it around. And it starts, but it's going to happen sooner than later.
God, I hope so.
They're almost backs against the wall in terms of making a bowl game at 2-5. They got one game margin of error, and hopefully it's not going to be this one. As I mentioned, FAU went to USF last year and beat the heck out of them. So USF's going to come into this one amped up.
Yeah.
Hot Orlando, Jamie Petway, Decarius Hawthorne, a couple other former FAU connections over there on USF. So this is going to be
how can you go to FAU and then transfer to USF? It's so stupid. I'm sorry, guys. You guys suck.
Yeah, that I mean, that's that football.
I'm being honest. What happened to what happened to the loyalty?
Yeah, how do you? Yeah, I mean, well, on the bright side,
I hate it, man. I hate it. It's like Rosado and Brandon Lorient. They're wherever, North Texas, and
I'm looking forward to Charlotte versus FAU, though. I mean, I think that's a perfect fit for G. I don't know necessarily about.
He got screwed there because Patterson left. I don't know. All right, we're done with basketball.
We'll talk about Charlotte FAU when it comes. That's going to be a good one.
I can't wait.
Maybe get G on the pod. We'll see about that one though. But
get you on the pod.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Want to come on the pod with me?
But kind of
I like you. Shout out to Rosado. He did a lot of good things for FAU.
FAU alumni.
Turncoat.
FAU alum Giancarlo Rosado. Always shout out that. But USF, they've struggled since Byron Brown went down. They've got a backup in there, Bryce Archie, who's struggled. They won last week against UAB, came back in that game, and that's because they really found a run game with Kelly Joyner, Teron Keith, Naquan Wright. They've got three good backs. But defensively, they've struggled, especially when their offense doesn't give them anything to work with. They run that up-tempo offense. The clock stops when they don't do anything, and then the other team gets to run that ball and dominate time of possession, which Tom Herman doesn't put too much value in. He says USF's going to make the most out of the time that they have. But to me, this game comes down to a couple of things. If FAU defensively can shut down the run game that they have and in turn make Archie, try to lead this offense and force him to make mistakes, I think that shuts them down offensively if they can really limit their run game. And then in turn, offensively, if they're able to run the ball effectively, grind some clock, let manageable situations occur for Fancher in the pass game, let Cam's run game, the QB run game open up a little bit. I think this is a very manageable game for FAU to win. It's going to start with them limiting the run and shutting down USF defensively. But if they can run the ball how they're more than capable of, they're 2 weeks removed from their best offensive line performance of the season against North Texas. I think they can get back to that in this game and win. But at the same time, if mistakes plague them, if little things, Herman mentioning, one guy's in zone coverage while the rest of the team is in man, things like that can't happen in this game. USF will find ways to capitalize. They're a well-coached team. They've been in some struggles because they don't have a quarterback, but they're going to try to capitalize on FAU's mistakes. Can't give them any. That's going to be the biggest thing. If FAU plays clean football and forces Bryce Archie to make some mistakes, they win this game. But if they fall back on some of the struggles they've had, USF is trying to get to a bowl game, make something respectable happen out of this season, and they're going to want to start here. So this game is going to be very even. It's going to be interesting to me to see what ends up happening. But to me, I think this is a manageable game for FAU to win. There's a lot at stake. I mean, in-state recruiting, both for football and regular academics. I mean, some people care that much about football. I don't know how many, but they see FAU beat up on USF twice. They see it on national TV, the beach and everything. It always looks good in terms of attendance. So a lot at stake here for FAU. It's a game you want to see them win. Mike, any thoughts as to what's gonna happen in this one?
I have no comment. No, I'm just kidding. I'm hoping for the best, man. It's homecoming, so I hope that the team comes out, shows some FAU pride. Let's score some points, Show
Make
up on
it fun.
defense. They're not that good. We know that. We know they're beatable. Let's win the game. It's a home game, Friday night, homecoming, special black jerseys with little owls on the side and red script. Looks cool. Let's not embarrass ourselves in those cool uniforms. Let's go out and kick some ass and take some names. Send them back to Tampa.
We shall see.
That's all I got. That's all I got for that.
Yep.
You know, I love Tom Herman. He's a great coach. We got a great team.
This FAU team.
We're there. We're there. We just need to learn how to finish the game and win. And that's
too volatile for predictions. This team is, we never know what's going to happen, but I think, I really do think this is a very winnable game. And as long as, Herman's mentioned in the press conference this week, he senses a pep in their step, renewed buy-in, all that.
Every game, maybe short of Army, has been very winnable.
Exactly, and UConn. That one wasn't good.
Army
was closer than UConn. And so, those two games out, but like you mentioned, the past two games especially, they were in that game, both fourth quarter. UNT, they were in that game down to the last 4 minutes. Just got to find a way to finish. Once this team learns how to win, I think it's a domino effect. And there's a manageable schedule here down the stretch for FAU to get to a bowl. But it's going to start with this game. We shall see what happens. Friday Night Lights, ESPN. Make sure to tune into that one if you can't go. But if you can go, Halloween is tonight. If you are not a college student, Halloween weekend is not a thing. Get yourself into the stadium and go root on the Owls, as on homecoming, USF's coming to town. That's all we got for you today, folks, here on Inside the Burrow. For Mike Birdman, I'm Robbie LaStella. You've got a lot of FAU action this weekend. Make sure to tune into the live stats of FAU Auburn, and then tune in on Monday. You've got FAU Indiana State on Fox, and on Friday, don't forget USF FAU ESPN homecoming, folks. We'll catch you next week here on Inside the Burrow. I'm Robbie LaStella for Mike Birdman. We'll catch you next time.
Go Owls. Let's go.